I'm going to show you today how to use some of these other types of glues that you might get from PontoonStuff.com. Plop? Is that a thing?
No.
I'm going to plop. Is that better?
Sure.
Plop. It's not going to be that liquidy finish. These are both trowel-on applications. Hey, it's Tom from Toons. We are laying a floor. This floor, it's a woven vinyl. It came to us from our customer. I'm going to show you today how to use some of these other types of glues that you might get from PontoonStuff.com. This is the Deckmate DM9080. It's a flooring adhesive, but it's not going to be that liquidy finish like what we've shown in videos in the past. This is another one that will be shipped sometimes from PontoonStuff.com. Henry 663 outdoor carpet adhesive. These are both trowel-on applications. So I'm going to use a trowel 1/8 inch. This happens to be a 3/16, so it's going to leave a little bit deeper trowel mark. That's okay. And then I'm also going to need a PVC pipe to roll things out. When we're laying a vinyl like this, the first thing I got to do is unroll it over the whole boat. We'll get it squared up the best we can. And then I'm actually going to roll it back up, and I'll show you how we work on sections at a time with the trowel. Because what we do with a roller, a paint roller typically, is we lay it out and just work half at a time lengthwise, because we can apply it so much faster. But with a trowel, unless you have a couple people working on it, which if you do, you could do it just the way we do with paint rollers. But in this case, I'm going to do it by myself, and I'll time lapse the application. But I'm going to work on it in sections going down the boat instead of a whole side at a time. I don't want that glue to dry real fast, so I'll work at it in sections. We've got everything laid out. If you look front to back, we're laid out here. What I'm gonna do, just because this boat has a cutout in front of the engine, so I don't need to cut it exact. I actually don't want to cut it exact yet. We'll do that when we're done with the adhesive. But I do need to cut things out because the way it's laying in here is goofy. It doesn't allow the flooring to lay flat. So all I'm gonna do is find the edge of that board. Make sure we have plenty of overhang in the front before you do this. We've got some overhang in the back. And I'm just gonna cut inside a few inches. What this is gonna do is allow this flooring to lay flat. Just a box cutter, razor blade. So we've got it rolled out nice and flat. We've got it measured, so we're pretty much even. On this vinyl weave, it doesn't have to be, there's no lines to square up. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna actually clamp the front in the middle where it's at, and I'm gonna roll from the back forward. We're gonna roll this back up with the felt side exposed. That way I can trowel on glue, and then I can unroll it, roll it out with some pressure to stick to the glue, and I can keep working my way back. So we're gonna actually start in the front of the boat, work our way to the back to apply that adhesive. As you can see, we've rolled this flooring back up. In a big roll, I've clamped it so it can't unroll on me while I'm working with it. And now what I'm gonna do is just apply in about as much as I can reach. These arms are pretty darn short. So I'm gonna work in about 3 foot or so at a time with the whole width of the boat. So this is an 8.5 wide. So I'll work fairly quickly, troweling it. I'll just splatter some on, you'll see that in the video here. And then I'm gonna keep working my way. So I'll just unroll it, and then I'll roll with a PVC pipe, just a big, about 5 foot long one. We'll roll it out. The last thing that I'll do on this boat is come back and glue from here forward. So that'll be the last step, just in case you wondered what I do with the front. I haven't applied any glue yet. Let's show you how we get started with this. So the whole texture of this is not runny at all. What I'm gonna do is just blop out a few scoops. Blop, is that a thing?
No.
I'm gonna plop. Is that better?
Sure.
Plop. So I'll plop out a few scoops and then spread it quickly with my trowel so I can unroll it. And I'll keep my bucket handy in case I need more glue. And on this, I'm just looking to make a nice uniform covering. And you'll see I'm gonna work it close to the edge, but I'm not gonna worry about getting it to where I'm spilling over, because I am gonna staple this along the edges. So we're gonna do the best we can to get it close, but not worry about actually getting it over the edge. I'm just looking for a good uniform coat, work out any other big blobs that we have. We're gonna go ahead and unroll it past where we've glued. I'm gonna clamp it again to keep it from going too far. And now I'm gonna take my PVC pipe and unclamp the front, because that's gonna be held in place now. I know that my glue ends here, so all I'm gonna do is climb up, and I'm gonna work my way with some pressure forward up. You know, we started around here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that the whole way across. What we're doing is just trying to get good adhesion. I could work widthwise as well. I'm just putting as much of my body weight down as possible here. And that's our first pass. Glue's been pushed down, or floor's been pushed down into the glue. I roll this back up until I can just see the edge of my glue here from where I started. And that's okay. If you see the glue, it's not gonna cure that quick. I'm gonna start again by running a line across and then spreading it. We're to the back of the boat. I'm gonna apply this flat region here, and then I'll do from the ground, I'll hit this back portion on each side. We'll unroll it, and then we'll roll it out one last time. For this last part, I've glued somewhere in here to start, so I'm gonna roll this back. And I just have to pull it back, and you'll feel how well it's already adhering. I'm gonna peel back just so I can start to see the glue, and I'll just clamp this on each side. But it's already starting to stick really, really well. Your excess vinyl that you cut off makes a great rag. Or just be a little bit one step ahead, unlike me, and have some rags ready to go. And that's it. We can unclamp and roll this last piece back. And we'll roll this out real quick. This boat's 20 foot long, 8.5 wide. I used a 3/16 trowel, which is a little bit bigger trowel. It's gonna leave a little more glue on there. A lot of times it'll call for an 1/8 inch. So we went through about 3.5, almost 4 of these gallon jugs. Keep that in mind. Again, using an 1/8 inch trowel is gonna use a little bit less glue. It'll be ample glue. I just happen to have this nice metal trowel sitting around, so I use that. But it'll get you by just fine with an 1/8 inch. They ship you, I believe, 2 gallons. You may need to order a third, or again, with that 1/8 inch trowel, you should use a little less glue. In this case, a little more glue isn't gonna hurt. We've got this all rolled out. What I'm gonna do now is trim the excess, just like we do with any other boat. I use a razor blade or a box cutter, and I'm just gonna go around. In this boat, it has a different shape to the front corner, so I just carefully follow the wood. And I'm gonna trim my excess all the way around. The last step will just be putting a staple every 6 to 8 inches all the way around the boat to help hold everything down, help that glue cure. We'll give it 24 to 48 hours, then we can start rebuilding the boat. If you found this video helpful, please help us out by subscribing and commenting below.